Hey yo, what up, MMA fans? It's your boy, the MMA genius, MMA Blaze. Hey yo, look, whatever you see fit to call me, just make sure you mention me with MMA in it. You know what I'm saying? But yo, look, man, I've been doing some thinking, you guys. I've been doing about a matchup interesting to some of y'all. I mean, me, not so much, but the more and more I hear people mention it, I do get a little bit more interested as well. So, whatever, I'm gonna get into this and what I think about this overall matchup, this fight, and what I think the UFC is trying to build with this fight, what they are trying to do. Okay, honestly, you guys, I gotta say, I think what the UFC is trying to market here and what they are trying to do and build is a Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather type of fight here. You see what I'm saying? Everybody knows, it's no secret that if Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather ever decide to fight one day, it would be the biggest selling fight in boxing history. Okay, period, of all time. Just so much sells. You know what I'm saying? Just you can't even explain it. And let's just be honest here. George St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva will probably never sell as much as that, but it can be the biggest selling MMA fight in MMA history. You see what I'm saying? Now, I think as time goes on, they're just going to try to continue to let people bring it up, keep begging for it, keep asking for it, and generate enough buzz around this, and just let it just let people continuing to wonder, man, when are we going to see this fight? Just like you see in the Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather, people keep asking for it, and then when this fight finally happens, sales are going to go through the roof. Now, in my opinion, what would have been the biggest fight in MMA history would have been Fedor versus Brock Lesnar. But since both of those guys have just recently lost, Brock Lesnar lost in very dominating, brutal fashion to a great fighter, one of my favorite heavyweights, in Cain Velasquez. Congratulations to him, new UFC heavyweight champion. And Fedor just lost to Fabricio Werdum, which it wasn't really dominating, but which I really think he made a mistake on his part. Some don't really like to use the word fluke, but I do, and it was a fluke, and that will never happen again. So yeah, like I say, basically, man, what do I think about this matchup? George St. Pierre versus. Well, let's just put some things together here. I mean, I'm the type of guy that likes to break things down. So if you don't like to hear things broken down, get the fuck out of here and go watch somebody else's video. You know what I'm saying? Nah, just playing. But yo, check this out, man. Honestly, let's just put George St. Pierre. Okay, first let me say this. I know a lot of you think that George St. Pierre really stands a chance against Anderson Silva just because we have just recently witnessed Anderson the Spider Silva get dominated so bad against a great wrestler in Chael Sonnen. Okay, let's just back this up here, okay? Let's put GSP in there against Chael Sonnen, and how the fuck do you think that he would do against a guy like Chael Sonnen, okay? A guy that has great ground and pound, and not only that, that will run through any strikes that you have to offer this guy. Run through you, throw you on your back, beat the fuck out of you. When do you see George St. Pierre slam somebody with brutal intentions and beating them down, okay? George St. Pierre is a great wrestler, okay? One of the best in MMA. Best in MMA? No. One of the best in MMA, okay? You can forget about George St. Pierre dominating Yushin Okami, Nate Marquardt, or Chael Sonnen. Do I think that he will put up a good fight up against Chael Sonnen and Nate Marquardt? Of course I do. I think that George St. Pierre will put up a fight against anybody almost within, weight level reaches. You see what I'm saying? But do I think he would be able to beat Yushin Okami? It's possible. It's not impossible for it to happen. Yeah, it can happen. Do I think that he would dominate Yushin Okami the way that Chael Sonnen did in that fashion? Not a goddamn chance. Okay, Do I think that George St. Pierre would dominate Nate Marquardt, go in there, throw him on his back, keep him there, and just put on a grounded pound clinic, or either even beat Nate Marquardt up on the feet? Not a fucking chance. If you ask me, I think George St. Pierre would lose that fight against Nate Marquardt by knockout or just by overall just superior. Nate Marquardt is not a terrible wrestler. He got dominated by the guy like Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen dominates plenty of guys. He dominated Yushin Okami. And let's just see here, man. You guys got to really think about these dumbass statements that you make, about GSP just going in there, grabbing Anderson Silva, throwing him on the ground, and just beating him up for 5 rounds. You guys, just think about that. It's stupid what you are saying. George St. Pierre is not at all the wrestler that Chael Sonnen is. Period. Now, I will say, Chael Sonnen, I don't like this guy at all. He's a very entertaining fighter, very entertaining guy, but overall, he's a very disrespectful. He disrespects your whole camp. He talks so much shit about you. I'm a fan of trash talking. I will say that. But this is just a whole new thing here. This is totally different what Chael Sonnen is doing. It's totally disrespectful. You disrespect me like that, if I'm a fighter, and I would take it very personal, possibly get in trouble for it. We would fight outside, look, man, it would be some shit going on if a guy talks shit to me the way that, that guy did, you know what I'm saying? So, like I say, overall, I think this guy's a piece of shit, horrible personality, but I will say, he does make fights interesting, so I will give him that. But how many of you believe that this guy would have been that dominant if he hadn't tested positive for enhancement drugs, okay? If he hadn't cheated. Do I believe Chael Sonnen cheated? You damn right I think he did. But do I think he would have been able to beat Nate Marquardt, Yushin Okami, or even put up a fight like he did against Anderson Silva if he hadn't used those enhancement drugs? Yeah, I do think that he would have put up a fight either way. I think he would have beat Nate Marquardt. I don't think Nate Marquardt would have knocked Chael Sonnen out. Chael Sonnen has a great chin. He's very hard to knock out, okay? I don't think that Yushin Okami would have beat Chael Sonnen. I think that Chael Sonnen would have beat him. Now, would he have beat these guys so easily and just dominating fashion, even though Nate Marquardt did land some strikes and open him up and cut him up? He didn't really, this guy didn't really, he was never really in that fight. Yeah, don't get me wrong, he was a great fight, but Chael Sonnen just ran through him like he was nothing, man, and just put him on the ground with ease. And I don't think that it would have been that easy for him. And yes, I am saying I do believe that Chael Sonnen were on these enhancement drugs while he fought Yushin Okami and while he fought Nate Marquardt. Yes, I do believe that. Okay, Chael Sonnen has always been a dominant wrestler, but he's never been that dominant. All of a sudden you're just getting this dominant. It's just kind of weird. Just out of the blue. And not to mention he looked huge in that fight against Nate Marquardt. He just looked huge. He looked like, the guy just looked big. And in body size, fighter size. You know what I mean? So like I say, just all you have to do is really put George St. Pierre in there with a fighter like Nate Marquardt, and let's see how he does against him. Let's see how he does against Yushin Okami. Let's see how he does against even a guy like fucking, I don't even think that, to be honest with you, I don't even think that George St. Pierre could beat Damian Maia. To be honest, I don't. I don't think that he would beat Husamar Palahari's. I don't think that he would beat these guys. You know what I'm saying? You guys are praising George St. Pierre way too much. You're putting him up there. George St. Pierre is a great fighter. There's no doubt about that. But in his weight division, will he make a great fight for some guys at 185 pounds? Yes. I even believe that he would beat some guys at that weight division. He would beat a bunch of guys, but he would not be the best at that weight class. For him just to go in and just take Anderson Silva's belt away from him, it's very hard for me to see that happening. And I don't think he would submit Anderson Silva. He's not going to dominate Anderson Silva in wrestling like Chael Sonnen did, and it's just not going to happen. He's not going to ground and pound Anderson Silva He's not going to ground and pound him into TKO. Okay, he's not going to TKO him on the ground. Period. If Chael Sonnen could not TKO Anderson Silva on the ground, if Dan Henderson could not TKO Anderson Silva on the ground, George St. Pierre most certainly would not ground and pound Anderson Silva with that pitter patter shit that he does. Okay. He could not submit Dan Hardy. Yeah, Dan Hardy is a very tough guy, one of my favorite welterweights. But let's just face it, George St. Pierre did not have the proper technique when it came to jiu-jitsu to submit this guy. A lot of it had to do with Dan Hardy's toughness, but a lot of it didn't. Okay, so George St. Pierre is an okay jiu-jitsu artist. He's not the best. He's not that good. He's mediocre. Okay, he has great grappling and he has great transitioning and overall just you know, just like I say, transitioning, you know, and getting in dominant positions on the ground. But when he's going against a high-level grappler, you know, who knows how, you know, how good he would look. You know what I'm saying? And like I say, George St. Pierre is a great fighter. I don't want to take anything away from him, but you guys are putting him up there way too much. Like I say, the most that this thing would do would sell a lot of pay-per-views. A lot. It'd be the most sales in MMA history, and that's it. But far as just people talking about George St. Pierre really having a chance at beating Anderson Silva, if George St. Pierre beats Anderson Silva, I would be the first to say that's a fixed fight. I don't give a damn how many people cuss me out. I don't give a damn how many people talk shit. Hey, look, I'm the type of guy that does not give a damn what you think, period. I will say what I think all the time. If he beats Anderson Silva, that is a fixed fight. I don't give a damn. Anderson Silva's striking is 100 times better than George St. Pierre. I don't care how good George St. Pierre has just recently looked against a guy like Josh Koscheck. Okay, let's just say this. He did a great job against Josh Koscheck, but Josh Koscheck, first and foremost, is not a fucking striker, man. So what? He has knocked out a couple of guys. Josh Koscheck is a great wrestler who found something else in himself, and that was an extremely hard overhand right, and might I add, very, very predictable. Okay, George St. Pierre is a smart fighter. Okay, he knows all he has to do is throw straight jabs the whole time, where Josh Koscheck is throwing his very predictable overhand right, and just light him up with jabs all day, just continuously light him up, jab, 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 jab. Okay, George St. Pierre is not going to go in there and look to strike against a world-class striker, okay, a Muay Thai striker slash boxer slash jiu-jitsu artist. He's not going to go in there to look to try and stand up with Anderson Silva. It's just not going to happen. And if he does, it will be a very bad night for him. Although any way you look at it, it's going to be a bad night for him, in my opinion, any way you look at it, okay? I mean, let's just face it. A great wrestler like Chael Sonnen had to get on these enhancement drugs just to dominate Anderson Silva the way he did, and he still fucking lost, okay? Anderson Silva was still able to submit him. What do you think a guy who's not even on the level of wrestling, in my opinion, with or without the drugs, he cannot compete with Chael Sonnen when it comes to wrestling? What do you think is going to happen to George St. Pierre? He's going to get submitted, he's going to get caught in a triangle choke, or he's going to get knocked out, period. And what I say to you, yes, of course George St. Pierre would be able to take Anderson Silva down. Would he be able to keep him there? I don't know. You know, who knows? Would he be able to TK Anderson Silva while he has him on the ground? TKO him? Not a fucking chance. Give it up. It's not happening. Will he be able to submit Anderson Silva? I don't think it could happen. Yes, Anderson Silva has been submitted in the past, but so has George St. Pierre, okay? I don't see George St. Pierre dominating Anderson Silva on the ground. Who knows how long he could even keep Anderson Silva on the ground? Who knows? Maybe Anderson Silva would be able to sprawl George St. Pierre's takedowns. Maybe Anderson Silva would be able to take George St. Pierre down. Who knows what this guy would be able to do, okay? George St. Pierre is not on the level as Anderson the Spider Silva when it comes to striking, okay, or anything else. Only thing I give George St. Pierre, and only chance I give him in this fight, is wrestling. And his wrestling is not good enough to dominate a guy like Anderson Silva. So, whatever you think, you can choose to believe what you want to believe. I could say this. I like George St. Pierre. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time, but I just hate when people just get completely delusional. So, whatever. I'm out of here.